Are you interested in real estate investing but not quite sure where to get started? Do you want to get the know-hows on creating ongoing passive income using the buy and hold strategy? Hi, I'm Janice Bowles, licensed realtor and co-founder of B Premier Ventures, a real estate development and consulting firm where we buy and beautify distressed real estate, renovate it, and resell for profit. With over 15 years of investing experience, B Premier has extensive knowledge in rural land development, fix and flips, and rental acquisitions. B Premier's current portfolio consists of properties within Florida and Virginia. Our firm's services includes investor project consulting, project management, and group coaching. For more information, visit our website at bpremierventures.com and schedule a complimentary discovery session or subscribe to our email list. It's free. Follow me on Instagram at Janice Bowles for additional real estate investing tips. B Premier Ventures, we buy and beautify.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of Let's Do It Talk Show. It's your girl, Ladrine Howard Peterson, the CEO and founder of Do It, delivering on ideas and thoughts. And you know what I do in a nutshell, right? I help to turn dreamers into doers, and I do it from two aspects. I do it from the aspect of career development, resume writing, interview preparation, promotional packages, or you looking to change your job, or you have an issue on your job. And then I also do it from a business aspect, marketing plans, business plans. You have some ideas and thoughts and don't know how to bring them into fruition. I am your girl. Here at the Let's Do It Talk Show, we were primarily created for entrepreneurs, right? We quickly realize and we quickly determine that the entrepreneur is a whole entire person. So we talk about faith, we talk about finances, we talk about the future, and we talk about families and relationships. So I've missed you all. I've been away for 2 weeks enjoying my vacation, had a ball with that. So this week is Money Making Monday. So I have all of my financial guru friends on with me and we're going to have some fun, but we're also going to talk finances. The title of today's episode is Preparing the World to Reopen. So we know we've been going through the pandemic and things are opening up now. So how do you prepare for that as a person and from a financial standpoint? So we're going to go through a couple things. We're going to talk about from PPP and beyond, the aftermath, and outlook. So you know what I do before I jump into the actual show? I share with you about my weekend, well, my week or my past 2 weeks. So yes, your girl has hit that 50 mark. So the theme of my birthday celebration was Hawaii 5-0. And I have to give a shout out to Shanae. Shanae was the first one in terms of going to Hawaii. I was already going to Hawaii, but her Hawaii 5-0, and I just put the O on the end of it. And oh my goodness, gone with me and my daughters, my apples, we had a great time. So you see the pictures as they're flowing, the beautiful water, all of the fresh foods, just so many different activities, Hawaiian ice, the luau, and you'll see that I just have a snippet of a drink in there. The girls tried to get me to drink. The little Mai Tai. I had some sips, but I ended up babysitting it. Of course, all the gifts, Green Coach. So thanks to everyone for all of the gifts, all the cards, all of the posts on Facebook. I really, really felt special and really felt love. But I had a ball, an absolute great time. My daughters were with me for the first 5 days, and then I stayed the remaining 3 days by myself, chilling, doing various things. But if you have not gone to Hawaii, definitely need to go there. It was great. It was wonderful. Just had an all-out great time. I didn't get to pull pictures of my actual weekend, but this weekend I went to 2 cookouts, 2 very small, intimate cookouts. The first one was Bernie, and shout out to her celebrating her daughter's K cancer-free. It was a small engagement, but I finally got a hot dog, a grilled hot dog. I missed that last year. And then huge shout out to Chef Chef Terrence. You have seen him on the show before, and he has always catered like our small events, but he had a birthday cookout, and the food was amazing. He cooked the food himself. So I'll share pictures with that later on, but let me bring my girls on. Hello, ladies. How are you? So first up, yes. First up, Janice, can you introduce yourself to the audience and let them know who you are?
Hello, everyone. I hope you guys can hear me. My name is Janice Bowles. I am an investor, real estate investor, and I'm also a licensed realtor. My company name is B Premier Ventures, where we buy and beautify distressed properties, renovate them, and flip for profit. So happy to be here on Money Making Mondays to share some little insight about where the real estate market is and where it's projected to go. So excited to be here.
Thank you so much. And then next up, we have Sacagawea.
Hi, it's Sacagawea Fanning, CEO and founder of Fanning Financial Group, LLC. I am just so excited and happy to be back on Money Making Mondays with my girls. So yes, very, very excited. I love helping people assist them with their budgets, savings, especially now with how the economy is going, inflation and everything, really helping people with retirement, because people really need to understand with the way inflation is happening, it really does have potentially a negative effect on retirement accounts. So make sure you're understanding what is happening to your retirement nest egg and other things that are happening according to the economy. So here to help, here to have fun, and here to actually give you some great information.
Absolutely. And last but certainly not least, my girl, Shanae. Hey, Shanae, let them know who you are and what you do.
Hello. My name is Shanae Robinson, and I am the professional credit diva. And for me, you guys know that diva means doing it very aggressively. So no matter what it is you want in life, you have to go after that thing because nobody is going to give it to you. And what I do is I actually help individuals, couples, and business owners unlock their goals and dreams by restoring, rebuilding, and repurposing their credit. So I help them to reach the credit scores that they need so that they can not only do what they have to do or what they need to do, but also what they want to do.
Absolutely. So I'm so excited to be on the screen with you ladies. I've missed you all. So today we're going to mix it in a little bit, right? So it's Money Making Monday. So we're going to be talking finances, but we're also going to slide in a little bit of reality because it is the world that we live in, right? So we just went through and still not quite out of a serious impact from the overall pandemic. And not only have we gone through things with life, right? But financial has been a big thing, a big part of it, a huge impact on everything that has been going on. A lot, the government has focused on it, from the stimulus, from the helps out, and everything else. But it has really changed the dynamics of the way we live and the way that we see things in the world today. So I wanted to jump into it with this topic. So preparing for the world to reopen. So let's jump into the first topic, ladies, and it is from PPP and beyond. So a lot of people received PPP who were eligible or not quite so eligible, but made a way to do so. But let's talk about that from the various phases of it. And I really want to look at it from the standpoint of how creditors are looking at the entire situation of the situation that individuals are in. And by that, I mean like the majority of people or groups. So we want to talk about how that impacts creditors and them giving credit, how it impacts people in terms of their living with the overall standing budget. And then, of course, what does it look like in terms of the market. So let's jump into the PPP discussion. So Shanae, let's definitely start off with you from a credit standpoint. So with all that's been going on, people credit has been taking a hit, and so many things have been going on, and I know that the creditors have been looking at this. So what have you noticed, or what do you feel in terms of what has happened and what we're looking at from the pandemic and people's credit?
To be honest, what I have seen is a huge wake-up call for everyone who did not have excellent credit, that they weren't able to take advantage of certain things that were available to those that did qualify because of their credit. It made them realize that anything could happen, right? Whereas though I have a great job, or I have, what have you, I don't really need to focus on my credit. I already have a home, or, I already have a car and things like that. But anything could happen to wipe out, the good standing that you had, the good job that you had. And even though we, were able to recover and everything, that when that impact first hit us, we were all kind of shook. Right. And so you didn't know how your bills were going to get paid. You didn't know if you were going to be able to pay your mortgage once, everybody was sent home and things like that. And one thing that I tell my grandkids all the time is, because I hate people that make me wait. Right. So my grandkids have a habit of, I'm taking you to school. So don't get ready, be ready. When I pull up at that front door, I need you to be ready to jump out, because there's people behind you, right? So we're on the way to school. As we get a block closer to where you're going to be, put your stuff in your backpack, put your mask on, do whatever. Don't do it when I pull up at the door. And so for me, what I have been seeing is that a lot of people weren't ready. Right? Like you never really know what's going to happen, but you should always in the back of your mind know that an emergency is going to happen. It's not if an emergency is going to happen, it's when an emergency is going to happen. You might not know the size or what type, but you do know that something is going, to happen. And had you had the right instruments, being your credit, your savings, what have you, in place, then you wouldn't be as impacted, as a lot of people were. So during this pandemic, what I saw was a lot of people realizing how important credit is, that even though the whole world shut down, our credit industry still kept revolving. Like, even if, you got a forbearance or things were put on the back end, they did not erase it 100%. You know what I'm saying? It's still happening. It's still going to happen. We're going to give you a little bit of time, to recoup or to, get yourself together. But hey, we still want our funds. We loaned them to you. We want our money. We want the interest and things like that. So it was definitely a wake-up call.
Okay, great. And when we, after we go through the rounds with them, I'm going to come back to you and pretty much ask you about the aftermath. So explaining all of the things that you explained, right? And everybody in the world know what happened and what's going on. So we understand the status that, everybody possibly could be in. And given that, I want you to give some thought and be prepared to answer. So what does this mean? A great percentage of America, right? We're not talking about the rich. I'm talking about standard people, lost their jobs, lost their income, needed to depend on federal government, state government to help them out. So given that this is a great percentage of the world, does that lessen the qualifications? Does it strengthen it, or does it make it stay the same? So when we circle back around, I know it's like a 3-part question, but I think that's a big question and huge for people to understand and know as we talk about the aftermath and where and how do we find our footing and move forward with that. So next, Sacagawea. So I want to go to you and talk about the budgeting of things, right? So the way, from my eyes, and of course we were halfway in the house. So what I saw was originally a lot of people very scared. A lot of people scared, not knowing what to do, right? And then when the relief started coming, not the first one was more so of helping them find grounding, right? Unemployment, stimulus checks, all of these things. But then all these other benefits and the 1,400 and the other things start coming in, and I start seeing people look like they were not officially balling, but trying to spend money frivolously and not as of a need anymore, and not being judgmental, but I'm just saying like what I saw. And so from that standpoint, can you talk to me a little bit about what you saw, and then like the PPP and beyond, and then also like diving into the we're gonna jump into like the aftermath of where did this leave us financially? Can you kind of like talk about that from being a financial expert and helping people with manage their day-to-day budgets?
Yeah, no, it was really an eye-opener for people. A lot of people were like not doing the best when it came to budget before COVID. So like Shanae was saying, it was a wake-up call for people. So a lot of the clients that I was meeting with, they wanted to basically, we had to do a financial analysis. Really, they wanted to understand, like, I'm making good money on my job, but at the end of the month, I'm not having as much as I thought I was. So that was happening pre-COVID. So when COVID hit, I think it gave people the time to sit back.
So
stay still and just I'm sorry, someone tried to call me. Basically, be on.
Okay. So Sakaji, you're going in and out, so I can't really hear you.
On the grind and say like what is going on. Sorry. Are you hearing?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
I can hear you now.
So what I was sorry, somebody was trying to call me.
No problem.
So what it is that people were understanding like this is serious. This is something like that's similar to when the federal government shut down. And people were going into food lines and looking for assistance that way. Mm-hmm. So they were trying to see what they needed to do to not put themselves in that position again. It's like, you get knocked down, you hit your head, and you want to know, how can I do it better? Understood. This is what you needed to do. Sit down. We did an analysis. Look at your budget. See what income you have coming in. What are you actually spending? And then what's being left over? So by doing that, people were really trying to pay attention and trying to do better with these stimulus checks coming in and all this other money. Like they were really trying to see, like if they had debt, how can I pay that down better? Mm-hmm. And then also, how can I put a little money aside to start doing savings? People were awakening and saying, hey, I need to put more money away for savings, just in case of a rainy day again. Because some people, they weren't doing the best, but they really do want to do better. And then also I was seeing a lot of people who were looking at down the long term, looking at retirement, and they were seeing how their retirement accounts were being affected, because a key thing that people don't realize, like I said earlier, the inflation that's happening, interest rates are dropping. And unfortunately, the interest rates and the yield rates are dropping. And this highly, highly affects retirement accounts. And people aren't earning as much in retirement accounts as they have in the past. And in some situations, they're losing as well too. So think about it. You're not making as much interest as you thought you would, and you're losing because of how the stock market is fluctuating. So it's a really, really difficult thing for people, right? And then when we get to the PPP situation, that has been a double-edged sword. Yep. Because unfortunately, like you were saying, some people were applying who really didn't necessarily qualify, but were approved and received funds. Like my sisters told me something that it didn't even cross my mind. People who are literally in public housing, receiving public assistance, applied for PPP loans and received it. Literally now HUD is sending out letters saying this can be PPP fraud, because how can you be on public assistance receiving that, apply for PPP, and then receive the funds. So there's a whole nother big mess that's going to fall out from PPP, where people who were applying for these funds didn't necessarily need them and were spending them on things that weren't connected to their business. So there have been even athletes who have been, and rappers who have been charged and convicted of PPP fraud. So this is something that the government is not taking lightly. So if people don't really understand what PPP is and whether or not they should do the funds, you need to reach out to a professional and see what your situation is. Because like you said, these people don't want that money back. Even though it was a government funded program, there were still stipulations that banks use their money in order to fund this program. So there's going to be a lot of fallout when it comes to this PPP, and unfortunately the PPP fraud. That right now has been a very big thing that has gotten a lot of attention. So the way I try to help clients, getting back to the budget and the finances, is really, like I said, doing that financial analysis. And like you said, that aftermath. The aftermath is that we have to have a better mindset after all this is said and done on how we view and how we use money. And we need to learn the basic concepts of money and how to do better, because this is a situation that could drag on and on. We don't know how long it's going to be. So for you to take control of the things that you can take control of, like Shanae said, taking advantage and trying to improve your credit, taking advantage and trying to improve your budgeting skills, saving skills, and not just for yourself, but for your kids and your family. Yeah. So that's my little 2 cents.
Yeah. That was a quarter. No, I'm playing. But that was real good. 2 things that you said that I wanted to circle back on. One, from the PPP and the potential for fraud, you made me think of something. I never even thought about anybody in public housing or any type of benefits becoming ineligible for those benefits that they actually need on a regular recurring basis. I never even thought about that. So yeah, people just have to be careful with, what they're doing, so that whatever you do in the interim, that it doesn't impact you in the long run.
Correct.
So I didn't even think, I was thinking more of the part of like having to pay it back. Because you don't meet the qualification. Never even realized that it would impact somebody's eligibility for public assistance or other assistance that they may truly need for a long period of time or in the long run. And then the second thing was when you talked about the finances and everything. So of course, those who lost their jobs or really fell down on knee definitely understand their situation. But like for people who were lucky enough and blessed enough to maintain their job as me, it helped me because I wasn't getting my nails done. I wasn't getting my hair done, any of those things. So I really saved a lot in those particular areas. I remember going back to the nail salon and I was like, it's almost double of what it was, and they have a sign that said because of supplies and everything.
Correct.
But it makes me relook at that a little bit. Was like it was okay when it was like plain colors or whatever. But very good points that you make with that, and I can't wait till we get to the last topic to everybody just flesh out of the outlook. So what I'll do now, so I'll transition to Janice. So Janice. So you could talk about whatever topics that you want to, but one of the things that I wanted to really, really have you to talk about is from a real estate standpoint. So that during the pandemic and all the times that you had spoken throughout the show, it really made me start paying attention to some of the things that were going on. And one of the things for sure was like the real estate was in a good position for a buyer, and we'll talk in the outlook about like the market or what have you. But can you talk a little bit about how all of this has impacted us and our stance in terms of like where we are now, like where aftermath, where did it leave us now financially from that real estate avenue?
Okay. So basically, who would ever thought that we're in the pandemic and, it will be a seller's market within real estate. Okay, this market right now, as far as for buyers, the interest rates are really good. So it's a good thing for buyers to be out, and they're going to probably shop because of the interest rates, more affordability as far as purchasing. But it's a seller's market because of the fact that there's low inventory. It's just low inventory. So buyers who are out there looking to purchase, first time buyers, someone who may have sold their home and maybe want to buy again, it's very competitive to the point where as sellers, it's favorable to them because they're getting multiple offers. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's a person could put their house on the market and they're going to receive at least at minimum 5 offers within first 10 hours of the house being on the market. Okay, wow. So it's definitely a seller's market in that aspect. Now, what it has done for us, as a whole, the values of properties have increased tremendously. No one even expected that to be somewhere upwards in 30% in some areas. Okay, so that's huge as far as equity that people are having, in their homes. It's phenomenal. But the flip side to that is, okay, you may have great equity in your home. You may decide to, refinance because of the better, lower interest rate, which is a good thing. But if you chose to, refinance, pull a little equity out, that's a great thing. But if you chose to sell your home, perhaps someone downsizing their home or whatever the case may be, once you sell, you're definitely going to make a great profit. But where are you going to go to buy again? That's the kick. Right. That's the thing. So with that being happening, the market as far as rentals have increased because a lot of folks are getting out of their homes because of the high value, the profit that they're making, but they're waiting for maybe another year before they repurchase again because they don't want to be in this competition of low inventory. So they're renting. So that's driving the rental market up and as well. But there's limited inventory with rentals in addition to it. So it's just the real estate itself, this market it wasn't expected the way that it is. It truly isn't. And analysts really feel that as far as the continual rise of homes, it's going to continue probably throughout the end of this year. I would say maybe perhaps first quarter next year, second quarter, we're going to see a plateau, a slight decline, whereas the rising won't continue as high. It'll be more steady, but we won't be losing value. We won't see another 2008 or 9. We won't see that happening, but we'll see more of the values of our home kind of just being steady on an average of maybe 3% increase a year, which is good versus what we're seeing now, which is astronomical numbers. So that's where we're going with that. But no one ever anticipated that during a pandemic, this would be, the way that it is. I think another thing is that folks, because they work from home, of course we had no choice but to work from home, and you're at home. A lot of that would be, whereas a lot of folks perhaps maybe wanted to upgrade, have more space because the kids are home, they're home, their spouse are home. Those type of things went into play. So, a lot of that took place. But again, it's just, the market is just phenomenal to the point no one ever expected. But the thing is that these interest rates are not going to stay the way that they are now. They're going to definitely steady rise. And once that happens, in addition to the forbearance being lifted, the market more inventory will slowly creep in. More inventory will sort of creep in. So it'll turn into, I think, slowly a buyer's market, probably maybe mid-year next year. But then again, the buyers are not going to really want to buy because the interest rates are up now. So.
Wow. That's really a lot of information, a lot of great information for someone who is in the market, right now, purchasing, and even from a seller standpoint. And I love how you gave both aspects of it. Even when we know at times that there's a buyer's market, right? And then we know at other times there's a seller's market. But the same example that you had given, so I've been in my home 17 years now. But when I sold my other house and I purchased this house, it was a seller's market. So I did good on the selling side, right? But I was moving and upgrading to a larger house. So at the end of it, it was still like a lot. I mean, like in terms of me, because when I started like bidding and going through, none of the offers were going through when I was just paying like what they were asking for. So we ended up having to pay over, and just a lot of things that we had to give into to make our pocket look presentable and look and outbeat the other one. So that was a very interesting aspect in terms of how you provided the information and for people to be aware and take a look, because a lot of people try to find the right time and to make their move, right? And you have to be very strategic about it, although it gets kind of challenging because you don't know at the rate that the interest rates are going to go up, how fast. And one other thing that you said, like us being in a pandemic right now, and we're still in the pandemic, but the world is opening up probably swifter than a lot of people like expected it. I was listening to a news show as I was coming over, and they were talking about the same topic. Things are opening up rapidly. So I think that kind of like the market didn't expect for it to do so. So I'll be interested in seeing how the shift goes, at what level, or how fast the trend is as far as the housing market right now. But definitely everything that you said is on point. I've been going out with someone who's looking to buy a home, and just a difference between January and last week. Total difference. And it's a brand new home. Total difference though. So great information in terms of that. So I wanted to do something. So you know how we do the this and that. So let's circle into the this and that, and then we'll come back and do the outlook. So this and that. The first one, your decision-making style. Are you logic? Do you make your decisions from a logic standpoint or an emotional standpoint? Shanae?
Now I think it is, I'm a cross between, but I'm more like emotional now.
Okay. Sacagawea, how about you?
I'm more, for me, as I get older, I'm more logic. So I try to take the emotion out and try to see it from like a larger perspective, just to see the pros and the cons. And plus, it's a lot of background in the military, work for the federal government. It's like analyzing and seeing what's the best scope, because sometimes the emotion, you want to jump at it, but is it really a good deal, even though it's nice and shiny? You know what I mean? So is it worth the value? Is the quality worth the value I'm putting into it? Or is the investment worth the rate of return I'm going to get from it? So I'm always about that analytical, trying to piece it out and seeing which way to go.
Yeah. How about you, Janice?
Well, I tell you, I'm a combination of both. For me, I've always did everything as far as a worst case scenario. So I definitely have the pros and cons. I've always looked at every aspect of everything like that. But I have to admit that now in my older age, I'm beginning to be a little more carefree and putting my emotions in. Sometimes it gets the best of me because I want something when I want it right then and there. And I see myself doing that a little bit more. So I have to pull back and say, okay, Janice, remember the plan, the pros and the cons, stick to it. So I'm seeing that I have to tell myself and talk to myself a little bit more in that aspect. But overall, analytical.
Okay. So I don't even think I have to tell you all what mine is. I'm logical. I'm straight logical. I used to be so far on the logical end that it probably was like far. I do have, and I have like experienced an increase of emotional, but still I'm probably 90 and 10. Like emotions, not for my decision making, not at all. So, okay, emotional, logical, and logical. Side dish in terms of foods, French fries or onion rings? Shanae?
Honestly, I would have to go with. See, I just like them crunchy. So French fries, for the most part, as long as they crispy, I hate a soggy fry. But when I get the onion rings, I eat the batter. I eat the crispy batter, dip that in ketchup, and I don't eat the ring.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
whatever one is the crispiest.
Okay. Sakajuwe, how about you?
Yeah, I think I'm more fries because like Shanae, yeah, I like mine crispy. And to me, like Mike's American Grill, they have some of the best crispy, like tiny fries that I like. And onion rings, I can only do the onion rings if the place knows how to cook them well. Because I like the crispy batter, but I like the onions too inside. Okay. So you got to cook them the right way. That's, to me, it's all about how they're cooked at the end of the day.
Okay, Janice, how about you?
French fries, and now sweet potato fries.
For me, French fries all the way. I just started eating onions last year, and I only use them to season my food. But I can't even imagine ordering an onion ring and putting an onion ring and I can't even imagine that.
Girl,
but the reason why I asked the question is when we were in Hawaii, my daughter had a very hard time, like seriously delayed time in trying to pick whether she wanted onion rings or French fries. She went through a whole scenario, and I was like, okay, so let me make sure that I put that on one of our this or that. So very interesting in terms of that. Cleaning style. Do you clean as you cook or clean at the end?
I clean as I cook.
Okay, Sakajuwe.
Yeah, I'm not a big cooker anyway, but when I do, I cook first and then I clean everything after.
How about you, Janice?
I gotta clean as I go. Mama said, clean as you go. Clean as you go.
We're half and half. I have to clean at the end. One, I have to pay attention. Like, y'all know I'm new at cooking. I do my thing, but I have to have my undivided attention on my pots and see what's going on. I don't have time to pause and clean. I will destroy my meal if I tried to do that.
Correct.
I really would. So, let's go ahead and go to the next topic. Let's go and go with the last one. So, in terms of like outlook. So outlook, where do we go from here? We talked about the interest rates a little bit, but let's talk about that a little bit more. Creditors and lenders. So Shanae, the question I asked you, how are they? Are they more stricter with their rules, more lenient, knowing what's going on? And how is everything gonna be, and what do we need to plan for in the three areas that we talk about? So Shanae, let's start with you in terms of the question of the creditors. So how are they looking at borrowers in this situation? Is the criteria more strict, the same, or what's going on?
It is really back to business, really back to what it was. And it was even back to business before it was back to business. So like when folks had 30-day or 60-day late because of, missing out on a payment because of the pandemic, you could not use the fact that it was a pandemic to have a lateness removed. Like they weren't trying to hear that. They weren't, as lenient as some of us thought they were going to be or should have been or anything. And that 30-day, 60-day, 90-day late, it still hit your credit, 30, 40, 50, 60 points. It still knocked you down. Like the ratings are still the same. The aftermath is still the same. It still is in place. And what happened is during the pandemic, and I don't want to use the term like took advantage of or anything, because every business shut down.
Right.
But with the lack of limited employees, even the three big credit reporting agencies, they had limited employees as well. So, to be there, to man the computers, to take calls and things like that. And so the 30-day reply scenario where you had 30 days to reply, your creditors had 30 days to reply, to the letters and everything that you sent. That was on back order for a long time. Things are just starting, to come into play where you're starting to receive your responses when you're supposed to receive them. What Experian did, what they did is to try to play, catch up, is they just started replying and sending everybody's responses via email, right? Instead of actually physically mailing out, the response letters, or the updated credit reports and things like that, trying to play catch up, because now it is mandatory again that they have to, respond within that time frame that is, that the law allows and everything. What people are realizing is that no matter what the situation is, no matter what happens, or what we feel as though should happen, or be taken into consideration, it is what it is. Right. And what it is that your credit needs to be at a certain level. Like, they did not lower the requirements to get you approved for anything like that. If your credit score was not where it needed to be, even when they lowered like the interest rates and things like that, and they said, now what they actually did is, for some instances, they raised them, right? They raised what your credit limit has to be to get approved for a loan, for a mortgage and things like that, because they did not know who or when, folks were going back to work or anything like that. It was even some mortgage companies that made folks sign, had their employers sign notes saying that this person's, employment status will not change for, the next number of years or things like that, because it was such uncertainty going on, right? And so they're in business to make money regardless. And if you don't pay them, they don't make money, right? So I would rather keep my money versus give you my money and then not get my money back, right? And so now people are really, really realizing how important their credit is to them. Not just like what the industry says, not for this or for that, but they're really realizing how important your credit score is to the person themselves, right? Because it just goes back to being a wake-up call. So the creditors weren't lenient. They, was still business as normal. That missed payment, it still makes a 35% of your credit score. That's still 192.5 points, right? Within your credit score, that missed payment knocked it out. They did not change anything. If a person missed their payment or what have you, they did not say, okay, well, it is forgiven, unless you reached out to them ahead of time and made those allowances, happen and possible and things like that. So there were things in place that, were used to protect you, to protect your credit score, to protect things, right? But if you did not activate them or take advantage of them, then hey, they weren't going to do it for you.
Yes. I love like that part. I was going to come back and ask you that, but you rounded it off and finished it up in terms of that. I was going to bring up the situation because previously you all had talked about making sure that whatever opportunities to put forbearances or talking to the lenders, because they understood what was going on, that most of them had measures in place so that you could protect your credit. So that was great information that you gave in the past, and now we see how it really comes into play now, because those who didn't do anything really did themselves a disservice. But those who did, they still should be able to find their footing and to be able to bounce back in a better situation. So very good information. I have nothing else to add to that, but nice seeing the full circle come around from the information that you all had given way back sometime. Sakajiwe, how about you? Your thoughts, the outlook in terms of budgeting, people spending, buying insurances, buying, just like after everything that happened, all of the financial information that we learned about, people definitely got involved in their finances, whether they had little money, no money, or if they had a lot of money, it gave them more opportunity to invest. But from a budgetary standpoint, everyday spending, what do you think in terms of the outlooks or any other advice or information that you would like to offer?
Well, especially now that things are opening up, a lot of things that are being reported from analysts and news stations is that a lot of people, everybody is human, that people are going to go on what we call revenge spending because they feel like they were trapped and they couldn't spend and go out and go to places. So a lot of times people are going to be, like you were asking the question, are you a logical person or emotion? So a lot of times people are going to be driven by emotion right now and may go out there and like be revenge spending. That's what they call it. Because people have been like, cooped up and not been able to travel, to go to restaurants and do things like they wanted to do. So a lot of that is going to come to a head when everybody sees like, oh my good, things are open. And then what stores are going to do, they're probably going to increase the amount of sales that are going to be out there. So they're going to be looking at some very good deals to kind of tempt people to come back into stores and do some of that spending, because a lot of stores took big hits. A lot of restaurants took big hits. So they're going to be trying to do whatever type of PR and marketing campaigns to get people back out there and start spending. What people have to do, though, is take a step back, really evaluate your situation and see, is it worth it for you right now? Because like you said, a lot of people were on hiatus from their jobs. They weren't getting a paycheck on that frequency like they were, pre-pandemic. So they need to really understand, it's sometimes people do spend and go shopping to make themselves feel good, but is it worth it in the long run when your resources aren't as, large as they were in the past? So people really have to take, caution and take heed and make sure they're not spending like frivolously when they don't need to, because there are going to be deals out there for certain like cars and things of that nature, clothes and things of that. But there's also, like I said, the inflation and supply. Like right now, a lot of new cars aren't being made because there's a low in the supply of the microchips that go into cars. So guess what? Is there a low supply? That price of the cars that are out there may increase. So you got to look at these things. Also, the meat industry. A lot of our grocery items, you're going to be seeing increases in prices of groceries and things like that. So you need to be thinking and making plans for things that may increase in price. Like literally Chipotle, put out the word in the news media that they increase prices in order to navigate increasing pay for their employees. So in restaurant prices may be going up so they can handle, the burden, not burden, but, increasing people's hourly wages at restaurants and establishments. So you got to take all this stuff into play. It's not going to be like it was pre-COVID. Things are going to be more expensive. So for you, before you go out there and start diving into trying to spend on this and spend on that, evaluate where your money is and what you need to do. You also brought up a good point, insurance. Unfortunately, we saw a lot of people passing away due to COVID. So a lot of people like my clients, they've stepped up and they've opened up insurance. Insurance has actually like ballooned a little bit down during COVID because people are like, they were trying to pay for family members who didn't have something in place.
Right.
So the GoFundMe's are not as, how can I put it, as advantageous as they were, because everybody is having them. Right. So a lot of people are taking a step back and like, hey, learning, like I need to put something away so I don't have to be a burden to my relatives. I don't want people trying to scramble and try to bury me when they don't have the funds. Also, people, I'm educating people a lot on insurance. That it's not just for when you pass away, but you can be setting up a way like, hey, get a stream of tax-free income down the road. So people are now being more strategic when it comes to insurance products and knowing how they need to build them and set them up in order to be more advantageous to themselves and their families. So there's ways that you can be strategic with your money and your planning and things that you put in place. Also, diversification of your portfolio, of knowing where your money is and how your money's growing.
Those are all very good points. And what I love about this show is that every time Money Making Monday, it is very relatable tips and tools that you all provide. And then, as I mentioned before, just hanging on to everything that you all said. And then everything that you all said, you predicted everything that's happening right now. So y'all have helped me personally, so I so appreciate y'all. I probably owe each one of y'all a small little check or something. But in all seriousness, I like the term that you use, revenge spending. So I never really heard of that, like here in as people have been talking. But you're absolutely right. People have been stuck in the house, so it's like, shoo, I'm out. You know what I mean? I'm out, so I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna do that. Or people hadn't had their hands on money to the degree of doing something. So as things become a little bit more stabilized, people are feeling that way. And even from some people are like, oh, you only live once, or life is too short. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I think that some of those things are okay. But as you said, balancing it and thinking strategic, because you don't want to go and do something, but then end up paying triple or quadruple for something, put it on a credit card or something like that. So being mindful of how you balance it, things out, and splurging, like, people just have to like be able to have and maintain some type of control over the various things that we're doing. But as we had that question, this or that, the whole emotional, and that wasn't the reason why I picked that, but it surely ties into everything that we're talking about, because people definitely make emotional purchases that they later regret. So very good tie in, and very good points that you make from that everyday budgeter, everyday budget spending. So
and
let's
just
go.
being aware of things being increased, prices going up. People need to be aware of that. That will be happening.
Yeah, and that's good. So if someone is looking to purchase a car, now might be the time that they want to go ahead and do it before all of the other things come into. And as Janice had mentioned about the market, so now is a good time to kind of like figure it out, because if the interest rates are going to go higher, you got to look at, like, you're going to be selling your home, and what you're going into is what you need to really be focusing around in terms of your interest rate, although both of them are a piece of the pie. But Janice, let's go to you. Thoughts, comments, suggestions, tips.
So I think really from the real estate standpoint, I personally feel that because of the pandemic and so many of us lost our loved ones, and just the fact of not being able to see and be with your family members and friends for such a long time, I feel like, in my opinion, from an emotional side point, that families are going to come together and live together more, in a sense. And what I mean by that is, it could be something whereas a family member may have their parents living out of state, and they may bring their parents to their household and combine the households. So there may be a house that's sold from the parent side, and then maybe a larger purchase on the kid side to complement, so they can bring the families together. I think a lot of that may be happening, just in my opinion, from an emotional standpoint. I realized for myself, we kind of talked about trying to get my in-laws to come, live with us and things of that nature. They don't want to do that, of course. They're very stubborn, but more of that, I think, is going to definitely be happening. I really feel that in a sense. the interest rates. This is a good time to purchase, but because the inventory is so low, it's so competitive. It's so competitive. So buyers, in my opinion, if they could just perhaps hold off into maybe first quarter next year, second quarter, the interest rates are going to continue to creep a little bit. It's not going to be to the point where there's going to be such a drastic difference, but it will be more inventory out there and less competition. So, for instance, paying 10 or 15,000 over on a home that you saw today because of the fact that you have this great interest rate and you need to purchase, but you're making an emotional decision by increasing the prices, bidding on properties. If you could just take the emotions out and just, kind of just weigh it out a little, that's one of the advice that I would give to a buyer currently. As far as for sellers, again, this is just phenomenal for sellers. So phenomenal for investors who may have properties that they need to upload. It's definitely great. But for those individuals that are selling and they're making such a big profit, then you got to think about, okay, what am I going to buy now? So it's a catch-22. So that's why the rental market is increasing, because people are kind of just weighing it out. They're going to sell, but they're going to rent maybe a year and see how things happen. So it's, interest rates are going to go up a little bit. With regards to cars, in my opinion, the car industry, even used cars, they have increased because of the low inventory. So, yes. It's. I feel like this time right now, we really need to take heed to basically looking really in depth at your finances, your credit, making sure that that's important. Definitely with the insurance, looking into the different avenues of insurance. Don't look at insurance only for death. But there's some products out there that, my colleague, Sakagia, that she knows that can bring you revenue here while you're alive and still leave a legacy when we transition. So those things, I really feel that people really need to get more educated in and start taking this time to really focus in on that. So, legacy building, that's really important. But crazy real estate market, crazy.
That's good. That was good. And I'm glad that you added in the information and even went in to further explain, because I was going and thinking of, okay, because of these things, but you made because of those things to buy now, but you made the perfect point in terms of the balancing and how things will go out, because you have to look at interest rate as well as pricing, because all of those make the factor. And when you look at things in terms of how long you're going to be paying, with a mortgage, is 15 or 30 years. So the interest rate is definitely important with that. And with the car, you 4 or 5 years or whatever your number of years may be. So very good points and very good things to consider when you talk about that. So always great information when you all are on the show. So I wanted to do a quick would you rather, and then we'll close out the show. So would you rather attend a party or host a party? Shanae?
Host.
Sakaja?
I'd rather host. That would be fun.
Janice?
I'd rather attend.
Me too. Team attend. I don't want to plan and do all that stuff. I'd rather just get a cute outfit, match up with the theme, do what I need to do, and show up.
That's right.
All right. Yeah. So what about when you go on vacation, would you prefer spending more of your time, as the kid said, host, hey, the kid, would you prefer spending more of your time relaxing or being out and about? Now you do both of them, but the majority of your time.
What are the options again?
Relaxing or being out and about? Mine is relaxing, so I'll go first. How about you, Shanae?
Out and about.
Sakaja?
Yeah, I think I'd be more out and about since I've been kind of cooped up right now. So I think I'd be a little bit more out and about right now.
And Janice.
I definitely got to be out and about. I specifically like to go on vacations and to explore the world and see different things. And I can rest at home. I sleep late anyway at home. So out and about.
Yeah. And that's funny. I threw my daughters off for one moment. I was like, y'all go ahead. I'm staying in. And we had separate rooms. It was because when I'm at home, I always find something to do, even in the midst of my rest. There, I didn't have much, so I could actually rest. So both online said out and about. So that's good. Like I do both of them, but I'm gonna tell you the majority of my time is going to be relaxing. So great show. Can we do a closeout and tell everyone how they can connect with you? And Shanae, I'll go with you last, so I'll start from the back, come up. So Janice, how can they connect with you?
So everyone, you can connect with me on Instagram, my name, Janice Bowles, Boles, Facebook, Janice Bowles. My business is, I'll put that in the news feed. It's The Premier Ventures. I have a website, thepremierventures.com. So, and here on Money Making Mondays.
Yes. Sacagawea, how about you?
Yes, they can contact me on Facebook. It's Sacagawea Fanning, and I'll put my name in the comments. Also on Facebook, Fanning Financial Group, LLC. I'm also on Instagram as Sacagawea Fanning. So definitely people can reach out to me, message me and see what they need, because I'm here to help. So, I'm available. So yay.
Yay, thank you. And Shanae, so please tell everyone how they can reach you, but also share about your upcoming event.
Yeah, so my name is Shanae Robinson, and on all social media platforms, I am the Professional Credit Diva, and that's Facebook and that's IG, guys. I don't really have Twitter, so sorry about that. And the reason why the first Would You Rather was so important to me, you saw me dancing, is because I'm actually hosting my first live event September the 19th. I'm so excited, guys. This is an event that focuses on your mindset. It's Mindset Mastery with wonderful speakers, guys. When you come out, you're going to be so pleased, because everything before this anything was always a thought first. And so when you have that foundation that is put in place, especially financially, spiritually, verbally, and physically, then that is what makes up the whole person. And that's what I'm going to be focusing on right now for my upcoming event. Again, it is in the Woodlawn, Maryland area. It's September the 19th. I'm so excited, guys. I have vendor opportunities available. And this is for my target is for professional individuals who want to create the whole person, both professionally and personally, because they have to coexist together in order to be a success together and individually. Okay. And for tickets and vending information, and also for volunteer opportunities, you can go to theprofessionalcreditdiva.com/events. And there is everyone there is a VIP. Everyone is an executive VIP, guys. I have great food lined up. I have great speakers lined up. I have phenomenal swag bag lined up. And for the first registered vendor, it was the first registered vendor and attendee, you get an exclusive VIP gift. However, I have already reached my first registered attendee, and I like to give a big shout out to JB for being my first registered attendee. I got you, girl. Don't even worry about it. You know my taste is good, but guys, I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. I look forward to you guys coming out, fellowshipping, and learning with the Professional Credit Diva. If you think I'm live here, just wait till you see me in person, okay?
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate that information, and you'll be hearing more about that. So thank you to Zakid. Thank you to Andre Watts. Thank you to Erica Douglas, and welcome. And anyone else, and I can't see you other than Kathy Ware because we are not Facebook friends. But follow us on all platforms of social media. We are Let's Do It Talk Show, Instagram as well as Facebook. We have a website as well as please subscribe to our YouTube page. So that's it. Like the show is, we're talking about since the world is reopening, we're talking about filling these wonderful seats over here and starting to bring a live audience in. So stay tuned for that. Maybe perhaps August, as soon as August. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you all on the next show. Have a great one. Bye, and thanks so much for tuning in. And thank you, ladies. It's always a joy. Peace.